for us to do a Cannonball as we look at the newest character brought out into Marvel Snap, as I hereby summon all my imps to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So, Cannonball was the eldest son of a large farming Kentucky family who was born on the 17th of October. He attempted to help out his family by working in a coal mine after his father had died there due to an alien coal dust. Right on his first day, he and his father's best friend Lewis were trapped in a cave-in. In his panic, he manifested his mutant blasting powers, which allowed him and Lewis to escape the collapse. Cannonball got much attention after the coal mine incident. This brought him to the Hellfire Club to take interest in him. They offered him a ton of cash to hire him as a mercenary. His first mission was to attack the X-Men's fledgling junior team, the New Mutants. Luckily, as soon as he saw how young the team was, his kind nature brought him to his senses. Professor Charles saw his good qualities and asked him to join the New Mutants. Cannonball left his large farming family in Kentucky to join the team with his mother's blessings. Cannonball joined the active roster of the X-Men for a while. He watches over the younger, more carefree students at the X-Mansion, making sure they were safe. But he knew that he could do more. He got together with the other New Mutants and with some convincing, eventually got them to leave the X-Mansion and join forces with Cable to become the hard-edged X-Force. Cable liked what he saw, and he was appointed the team's second command and field leader. Cannonball is a country boy at heart. He is nice, reasonable, polite, and down to earth. He is very big on duty and loyalty. He is a young boy who knows what life is too short, and because of this, he believes not to be quick to anger and that you should give it your best and give it your all you got while you live. Cannonball is forgiving and selfless, always caring for others. He is an example of what a good leader should be, and because of this, he got all these characteristics from his late father. Cannonball possesses the ability to generate thermochemical energy and release it from his skin. This energy is used as thrust to cause his body to propel through the air. He can control his speed and direction through sheer act of will. This energy can also manifest itself as an impenetrable and virtually indestructible blast field. He can use this blast field to function as a personal shield or extend it to encompass others. While he is using his superhuman powers, Cannonball possesses a superhuman durability due to the energy field that forms around his body. Cannonball's powers first manifested when he was trapped in a cave-in, and it is help others person move out of the mine before the cave collapse. This is represented in Marvel Snap by retelling his story, so when he first manifests on the board, he will try to move the opponent's biggest part out of the lane to safety, and if he fails, the cave will collapse and the part will be crushed by a rock. So in Marvel Snap, he is a 5, cost 8 power card with the on reveal of move the highest power enemy card away from the location that you play Cannonball in, and if you can't move that card, you destroy it with a rock. In my opinion, I believe that his star rating is a 1 star. This is a total pass for this week. Now let me explain, because I do not like to give out 1 stars as much as possible. I really don't. I don't think any card should be a 1 card, but this card's coming real close to it. And then when I looked at everything, I had to give it the 1 star treatment. And the first card that you gotta look at every single time is Stegron. When you go point by point and power by power, Stegron and Cannonball basically do the same exact thing. Stegron is 1 less power, 2 less energy, which is a fair downgrade for 1 less power. So it does almost the same exact thing as Cannonball. Or on reveal, it moves an enemy card from the location that you play Stegron on to a different location. It just doesn't have that destroy ability. And the thing is that nobody sees Stegron see play anymore. And that with Stegron being a 4 and Cannonball being a 5, it's a lot easier to slide in Stegron into some decks, especially if you're playing with stuff like Zapdos. Now, the thing about Stegron is that you're looking for is the destroy ability with what you're trying to do. Now, the problem with that is the cards that normally say can't move are the Blob, which is the big get for Cannonball, of course, and Colossus. But the problem with Colossus is because Colossus can't be destroyed anyways, you're not destroying the Colossus, and Colossus isn't a big card usually. Usually he doesn't have a lot of power behind him. And that's part of the other problem with this is, it says the highest power enemy card here. So, if you have 2 cards, does it pick one at random? Does it take both of them? And that still hasn't been really looked at. I haven't looked at how this is done. Now, there was an iteration of Cannonball, and I might just be hoping, and I might just be making this up, but I swear there was a data mine version of Cannonball where he left behind the stone either way. Where he put a stone in its location, and if he couldn't move it, then it got destroyed. Now, if that's how it was still written and how it worked, I think it'd be a better use than where it is right now, because at least throwing a stone brings out a value to this. The thing is that when you look even at stuff like Blob, which is the stuff that you're supposed to take out with this, the main card that they even showed in the preview was you take out Blob. The problem is that a lot of times if you're playing Blob, you're playing it into a lane that already has armor, so it can't be destroyed anyways. Or you're maybe even playing with Kyra in that deck, and you're not going to worry. The bigger problem is even if you get something lucky, like let's say you get the Infinite right on the beginning, your opponent drops the Infinite because they've got Project Pegasus and they can drop it right off the bat. And you have the Cannonball. Unless both other locations get completely filled, all you're doing is taking this Infinite into a different location. When you look at it power-wise, it's hard to make this card be useful when you're looking at it and it's got the same power as Vision, and Vision has a lot more use because you actually get to decide where Vision goes. Vision can get you into a Sanctum Centaurum. Vision can get you into a location that you might not be able to get into, where, to a certain degree, Cannonball is almost like a backwards Vision, where it's kicking it into a different location for sure, but you don't know which way it's going to go. The other problem is it's really fighting tooth and nail for the 5 slot, with Arrow being on the 5 slot also. Arrow's a 5'9", and she barely sees play in the 5 slot at all. I'm not even sure she sees play in the 5 slot anymore. And this is 1 more power. I think you at the very least have to give Cannonball 1 more power in the future to even have it have a chance of competing against Arrow, because why not just play Arrow? Now there is a meta out there where you could basically play a small card on one, like say Sunspot, or say Gamora, and basically when you hit 5 or when you hit 4, if you can cheat it out, you can play down the Professor X, and basically you're walking down a lane, which means that the other 2 lanes, you can control which lane the Cannonball is going to move it to. The problem is because of that, Professor X is also on 5. And because Professor X is also on 5, you're fighting the Cannonball and you have to get out the Professor X early, so you have to play another ramp card in there, which means you have to play like Stylock, or you have to possibly play some other card that gives you an energy boost like Electro or something like that, just to get the Professor X in there. Because even the Time Stone doesn't help this out anymore because it doesn't give you the extra power. Now, if you are able to pull that off, there is a situation where after that, you can basically play down the Shuri, and then play the Cannonball on top of the Shuri to be a 5-6 combo. If you can get the Professor X out on 4, you play the Shuri down, you play the Cannonball on top of the Shuri, and with the 4 on there, because you're basically getting the 8 power, that becomes 16. It's pushing it into another lane. Now, the lane that it's pushing that card into, you're going to lose most likely, but you don't care because you've won 2 lanes most likely. The biggest problem is that there's 2 cards that basically ruin Cannonball. First of all, if you're worried about a big card, like Taskmaster or the Blob, or a lot of the other big scary cards that you might think about, most of them are on reveal, so Cosmo can just come in and take that out. Also, if you're worried that your card's going to get taken out, you can play your own Cosmo down, because the likelihood is that you have priority going into that last turn. The other problem is Shang-Chi. If the card is big, which is what Cannonball is trying to destroy, guess what? Shang-Chi destroys anything over 10. If it's not over 10, you don't care anyways. Because if you're trying to move something that's not over 10, I'm not sure what you're trying to do. There is some things where you can say, oh, I'm moving a 6-drop or I'm moving a 3-drop. But again, just play Stegron. That's the problem with this card. Every time I look at this card, I keep saying, just play Stegron. The other problem that exists with Cannonball is if you play a card like, say, Storm, you have a chance of knocking your opponent's card into the Storm, so you can't have that location manipulation with Storm. Now, there is a weird world where you can get something like the Bar of Not a Name, but the bigger chances is that you're going to see an Altar of Death, or you're going to see a Sacred Centurion, or you're going to see some other location where your opponent is going to get knocked into there and get the power boost off of it, and you can't get into it for some reason. So you got to be really careful on that last turn about where you're kicking at, and if it's a 50-50 chance, you're basically not really getting the advantage off of it. Now, for the rest of the cards this week, we've got 2 cards that are pretty decent. First off, we have the Kitty Pryde. Now, Kitty Pryde, in my opinion, needs to be dropped to a 3. It should be a Series 3 by this point. It should have been a Series 3 weeks ago. It should have been a Series 3 months ago. I have a feeling it's going to drop down to a Series 3 somewhere in the future. This is a beautiful variant for Kitty Pryde. I already have a beautiful variant for Kitty Pryde. I have the wedding dress variant of this. But Kitty is not where she used to be anymore. She has really fallen off the map. Second of all, we have Miss Marvel. Now, if for some odd and inexplicable reason you did not have the season pass when Miss Marvel came around, and didn't buy it during the season when she was going, this is the perfect opportunity to pick her up. But I might consider not picking her up and just picking her up with tokens if you need her that badly. Because it feels bad to waste 3 keys on this if Miss Marvel is your 4th card that you pick up. And I don't think Kitty and Cannonball and whatever you get for the 4th card make up for how good Miss Marvel is. I think Miss Marvel's gonna come back in the future, and if you really need her that badly, and you're heavy on keys but minor tokens, then yeah, go for it. But then don't be upset that you ended up with Cannonball and you ended up with Kitty Pryde. I personally would call this a skip week, especially with next week and War Machine coming out. I'm gonna give you a spoiler for War Machine. I think it's a 4-key drop easily. So, I would skip on this week if I wasn't making content, but I do make content, so it's time to find out what's in the box. What's in the box? Let's all find what's in the box. Box is something eventually, hopefully. Oh my god! Okay! I'm gonna make a video about Howard the Duck apparently. That's what I'm gonna play on Friday and see what, if possible, Howard the Duck can do for me. Alright, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.